maybe. So some news. First, I hope you are doing well. Quick news, I will be in Central Time next week, but I will be here just like I will be like in different place. I think yeah we remove like the one from the in between Christmas and New Year, which I think is good. So next week we have, but not the week after. So the news that I wanted to share is like there's plenty of R community, and there's another one like it's called R contributors. That is gonna start a book club on contributing to base R, and they're gonna use also this book.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, but they're unclear what they're gonna use. They're gonna use CS50. I don't know if you know about CS50. It's the Harvard intro to computer science. It's in C. The first part is in C, and the second one is in Python. And they're gonna use this book, and the goal is like to bring new contributor to base R, like the core package. So that's a news that because like well, they will be like reading the same book was worth sharing, I feel. Maybe I can find the link to their stuff. So I could share at least.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But yeah, it's yeah, look at that. Copy link to post. And they have also a Slack channel, like everyone. Sometimes I would like more IR channel to be centralized, but that's fine. Yeah, they're on HEDM on Mastodons. But yeah, and the schedule will be a bit different. So there will be like, it's apparently one per month. I don't know if you want chapters, but yeah, I haven't like understand. I did not understand their schedule, but yeah, that's it. That was like for the news, and then we can straight jump into the chapter. Let me recompile that. Yes. Open in the browsers and share my screen. Dang. I would like some keyboard shortcut for Zoom. Maybe they exist and I'm just stupid. Okay. I didn't write too much learning objective. I think one of them is intro to good code practices. I'm saying intro because even if the author's like bringing some points, I still think it's an introduction. I think it's already good enough by itself, but you should definitely check others like book maybe. Also, I'm saying intro because like in these chapters, the author make reference to next chapters in the book. So there's a lot of stuff that have been delayed. Okay. Managing data flow. Like a function is designed by being like provide inputs, it's a black box, and then you have outputs. And sometimes you have some kind of convention or all the outputs are generated, but it's not necessarily easy. And here we are kind of here to understand a bit more the design of the black box, I will say. Try to follow base R behavior. Like this is one of the example, even if sometimes R functions are not consistent. And then you can see that like I will not run all of the example. I don't remember all of them. But so this one, I think sample int was consistent. But for example, rep with a minus, so normally like you should only provide an integers to replicate. I think it's replicate. No, it's not replicate. Rep. Let's call it rep because R has an unreplicate function. It's return an empty stuff. And obviously, like, shouldn't it be an error? the same kind, like error attempt to use 0 or minus or negative integers. I don't know why this one like worked and the other one not. I also try a bunch of them that are not run, etc., etc. So yes, I think this exercise was mainly like, do not necessarily try the good practices and test the function. This is my take on all of this exercise. Yeah, and usually I like the behavior as an error. The author make points after that. Then after that, like even if we compile some of them, like for example, this run, like we are running if a certain numbers and we are running it. And if we do not check, like you can do a session here. This is, I think, another example. I have not labeled it correctly. And that's an option of doing it. It's stopping so it's called an assertion. I don't know if it's introduced the term, but here, like this is sometimes people call that assertive programming. So you are doing all the assertion at the top. So to avoid like the error and correct it if not. So here, like you are correcting it. But yes, if you have like, even if you have an error that I'm gonna throw, all the error is gonna be handled by the function. Like if you add like even if like runif or round as a way to handle negative integers, as attempt to use zero length variable name or something like that. I should have used runif here. How will it works or inside of a function? And to be fair, it's unclear depending of how you plug your function together. So one of the way of solving that is putting a session at the top of your code. Usually it should be on the top, so it's top. And then it handles various cases. The author advocates that sometimes you can be more permissive. That's mean like you can have a check. For example, if you want only the first integer to be used by the function, let's say you have a vectors and you want the first integer to be used, you can like do this kind of hack. So you're just gonna replace the n that was provided. Let's say n was 1 to 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then you're just gonna use the first one and provide a warning. I don't know how you feel about that. I guess it's depend of your workflow and how do you want the function to be. In a lot of cases, the function that I write are outside of my scope. Like in some, if my guide here will be like, if I write a function that's only for me, I'm fine with that. But if I write function like where I don't know, like coworkers or other folks on the internet are gonna use, I think I'm gonna go with a stop if not, if it was my trade choice. And that's the same exercise, like, so I can just share my point of view on that, but I think everyone can debate hours on that. As one point should be made is like, you want the design choice you have made to be clear. So when someone is have to patch your crappy function, it's happened to me all the time, and 2 days, for example. That was like mostly my morning. Yeah, you want this design. The design choice sometimes are not apparent inside of the code, or neither by the test. So you kind of need. This is something like I think should be documented, is like as a comment or as topic. But yeah. Anyway, empty vectors, non-numeric inputs. To me, it should show an error. Shouldn't be allowed. What if it's equipped with name attributes? I guess I like the default that you should not mind them. I feel like if they are here to some kind of other use, but like they feel, I think you can use them in, let's say, a package, or like, for example, a linear model, or if they are in all programming environments, maybe, but you're probably not gonna use them in this environment where they were designed and created for, except like the name, the call name and stuff like that, the dim name. All of that, I think maybe you can use, but I will not be confident that they are all the time here. I mostly prefer them when they are passed as an argument instead of counting them. But that's matter of taste. An aggregation function. What about the missing value? I'm on the team that's provide a warning and allow the option to remove them, like kind of the base R function, mean and sum. And for the empty vectors, like the question, I guess, is like, do you want to provide an aggregate for all the data sets? So let's say like you have like, you work at the national level and you just want the mean average. So you group by nothing and should like group by, like it's you provide an empty vector, should return the average for the whole data sets? My point of view is no, but I could see like some people arguing for that. Should throw an error. A function vectorized with regard to two arguments. I would like it to be vectorized because it's follow like kind of the default R path, but unsure if it will be element-wise. I like, so should we like create a grid, for example? This add a lot of complexity. So I'm unsure. Vector versus vector of the same length allowed. I'm on the team that if vector, I mean, a lot of people in R does not know what vectorize mean and like the recycling rules. So I'm fine with the recycling rule, but sometimes depending of your users, a warning could be good. A function vectorized with respect to all arguments. I don't think I don't think it's possible. Like for example, like NRM true. Like, do you want to be have an option so it's vectorized on true, false, depending of cases? I think some argument do not need to be vectorized, but I could see like cases where it makes sense. All of that for me is design choices that should need to be documented anyway. A function vectorized with respect to the first argument, but not the second. I mean, we have plenty of cases of that. So yeah. So what's your take on that? Do you have like different kind of take, or we can go a bit on that? No particular take.
I'm thinking about it.
Anyway, to me, it went like when you maintain other people codes, this kind of structures, I mean, the option that he bring here, you need to be aware of, because like when some people write function that do not necessarily think about all the options. And sometimes the default is kind of like, what's the base, I mean, what's R provided as a default? And then you need to deal with it without them being like correctly scoped. So it's good to have all of this question in mind when you are doing a function that are gonna be reused. But yeah, especially if it's a very low level function that's, for example, it's package stringy. It's like it's interact at a very low level of the data type, and it's usually gonna be pipe or reused in another function. And when the function you are designing are gonna go inside another function or inside of a workflow, then all of that make more sense. Outside of it, you kind of be safe. I agree with that. We ought to generate output of a predictable kind. Return same kind of object and do one task. I think this is good advice. Do not try to wrap everything into one function. And yeah, I don't remember what was this exercise, so I'm gonna check it.
I didn't get to 9.8 exercise, so I'm taking your word for it at least.
Well, I have done them a long time ago, so I don't remember them all. Yeah, there are a lot of exercise in this one.
Yeah, there's like a 40 or something.
8. Functions such as rep sample do not perform a single cast. No, they are not. Yeah, they do a lot of stuff differently. But yeah. yeah, I think this is some example of it. Yeah, you can do a lot of stuff with them. They can they can also like it's because I didn't send the evaluation from the document, but yeah, I should like let's open one. I have one open. Cool. Let's see. What do they return? So we are putting it a list. That's called Fred. I don't know why. Oh yeah, correct. So here it's returning a list. And I don't know what sample X return, probably nothing, an empty stuff. Sounds like another exercise. X not found, yes. You correct R. Integer 0, yeah. It's not null. Unlike sec, but anyway. Yeah, a lot of gotcha stuff. And yeah, my main take on all of that is like, it make me more conscious when I use them now. Anyway, using invisible. Oh, this is always nice. Also like the return some things but not printed. This is used on all the side effect stuff. When you are using plot, usually we can see that my stuff here. Print plot default. Oops. See, at the end of it, it returns an invisible. So basically what plot do is it's gonna open a Windows, it's gonna put something into it, and it's gonna close you lose the air objects. Unlike, for example, ggplot, which why ggplot is so good, because ggplot returns an object. You can decide like to store it as an object, and then you can add stuff on top of that object. So yes, but like, yeah, the invisible trick is used in a lot of stuff. I kind of like also like sometimes you want also to be explicit. For example, you can do that. It's a trick that's also less known. Because it's even in an assignment, it's also the assignment also have the invisible stuff. So if you want to print the assignment, you can just do that. Anyway, move on. Organizing and maintaining function. You can do like what you call function library using source and stuff that are. You need to be cautious of the path, and you need to be conscious in which environment source is called. By default, source is called in global environment, but you can specify it. And if you use targets, if you use, for example, also some parallel code, I do not know a parallel will handle that. But if you use them inside of an R Markdown, they can be run at another level that where the source is called. So that's why you need to be cautious of the paths. For example, like here. So stuff can be dangerous, and I will totally be like, let's say you write a source in some project, then it will be, and you write some link with not absolute path, but relative one, depending on stuff. When you are calling this source in another source, you kind of lose the track where source have been called once, and it's kind of defeat its own purpose. So at one point, like, you can write a package. So the author provides us with a very a clean R package. I like it. It's like all you need to write an R package. And I don't know if you use JavaScript a bit. JavaScript has like this package manager called npm that's very good. And it feels like if you use like R is not that great, but like sometimes even for some small purposes, you could replicate these structures. Like add a build is probably like the less valuable here, but having the description of it, and it can be generated by some R package. You don't need to write all of that by hand. With the versioning system, that's part it's important. That is a joke, I guess. and like another part of it. But yeah, it just providing you, just doing that for some projects. You can call the package and replace it, and follow the same structure will allow you to use R command check on the project, which I think was something that I did not realize, that we're gonna go through. So yes, you can also if you want to learn more, like obviously there's this book that's introduced a lot of good stuff, or you can read the doc, of course. The author did not go too much into that. My only take is right, like at the beginning for some work, it's very worth it to just follow the basic R function for a package, even if you do not plan to use it to update it on the cron and on other purposes, because it's yeah, it bring value like from like the Roxygen comments, Roxygen2 comments, and it bring value also on the what you decide to like for example on namespace. This is you're supposed to, this is like you can use functions that generate that. It make also clear what you are importing from where and what kind of method you are importing. So all of that can be valuable also in the project. Like a lot of folk are replacing that with ROMV, ROMV, I never know how to pronounce that, or capsule. But this is like another way of doing it, even in some project. But it can become a bit more like it could take more. It can be like a bit more like too heavy for some project. So I don't know. This is like maybe like some equilibrium, because like the time spent doing that and the time the value bringing building and installing a package. Well, you can do that. Like I can do that in some places. So you can let's do it. I want to quiet, please. Make there. So I can git clone the package. I should go in package demo is my guess. No. Oh, I haven't. I create temp. That's stupid. CD package demo. Yeah. So here we see like I'm on Git. It have like the basic stuff, but it's not really loaded. And to load that, you should like, let's run here, just basic R, get working directory. So here I'm here, and if I go into this one, install package tip source, I'm testing it. I have not done it. I have done it like if I go with repo and you'll really found it. I should probably go one level below. Yeah, that was my guess. Oh, I lose it. So in the first is the past of the package. That's why like I'm lazy. I want to, and then what is gonna happen is it's gonna produce the binary for it and load the package into my lib path. Now I have access to it. So I think it was a cool example on all. Sometimes you have some package that you want to install but do not know. You can always rely on that method. You can always git clone. But here it's a fairly small package. If I have done it, like for example, a big package, I have no idea. But for big package, sometimes the compiling for source take long times. And here you have access for it. The authors recommend, I mean, you can always, oh, this is plenty of typo. Even if the documentation are in man. So if we go like inside of this repo package demo, we go in man. This is man for manual, like kind of the Unix also help page. And click on that. This is this weird, I do not remember the language of it. It's like some kind of derived of LaTeX. It's very specific. And the author recommend that you do not write. You can write it, like it's definitely just text. But the author, and for example, when I reference some data, I usually, because it's easier to reference data, I'm fine writing it in sometimes. But the author recommend to use air oxygen too. And it's very rare for him to recommend another stuff that base R. So that's bring it a lot. I don't know, it's write specific comment with the function, then use air oxygen to generate the ID. Why does he recommend that? It's like, so you write the specific comment, where does we store the function? So if we go inside of this package, this will be R, this will be bamboo. Yeah, I didn't write any comments, but I should. So you should write them with air oxygen. And then when you use, I think it's dev tool, semicolon document, that's gonna generate the manual, that generate this file for you. And that's fine as long as you remember, but like air command check is checking that also. If, for example, you have update a function but not have update the manual page, the tooling from R are gonna update it for you. So you're gonna have a check on that. So we have seen that, documenting, we have seen that. So, well, not very much to help you, I guess. I don't know if you have question regarding that.
I've never used it, but I see Roxygen mentioned all the time.
Yeah,
So I should probably learn it, but
I mean, you don't use the package, you use like a wrapper of a package.
no.
That's inside of either use this dev tool or whatever the name of the package is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Usually. So writing standalone program, we have already done that a bit. Here I noticed the other use vanilla and S that I never used it. So you can use, so it's here, like it's not our function, it's no. And then if you do scripts up, you get all the information and detail. And on vanilla, it's basically a combination of that I have put here: no save, no restore, no seed file, no init file, and no environment. It can be important because, for example, I'm not gonna do that into yeah, because my air profile is full of API codes. My environment, so I this one probably fine. So is here, for example, my air profile have some stuff that I have it for language server setup that's basically use like language servers linting for it. And also like I'm stupid, so I have just, if I am in interactive mode, I have another function that's man instead of help. But people can have totally weirder stuff than me. I think mine is pretty basic, but except this last line. But yeah, that's why like you want your script to be standalone. The important part is being standalone, and that's why calling vanilla ensure that whatever the weird stuff the user has, it will run as a basic R. Also, like this is super important, the command arc training only. Why? Because like if you write, I didn't show an example here. Do I have some here on my code? I can show some. Like send to mailbox. Why can't you find it? Send to mailbox. No. Why no such file? Do I? Let's see, cat maybe. I do not have a send to my. I'm stupid or not? This one, I think. I don't know. Okay, so this one, for example, is just like a simple wrapper that I use in Makefile that's push data to Mapbox. And I'm basically using the first argument as where it's called, where it's used. For the name of the file, that's it. That is gonna pass from another program. If you do not use command arg train only, it will treat, for example, the first, let's say like send to R script sent to Madbox. It will take no vanilla, for example, or a script, the next arguments as the argument. If you write, for example, R scripts, vanilla is an argument, and you want to just pass the argument after like the trailing only. That's why you specify. And by default, it's false. That's why you specify it, and it's a list. That's why like a vector. In fact, that's why I subsetted it here. So this is like a good like this is I never seen the other option of someone using the false version, but yeah. The author also recommend to use sync. I didn't know about sync, so it's gonna produce it's gonna, I think, let me see. I think I produced the example here that he provide as an exercise. Oh, I don't remember, but I think I have tested it. And what basically sync does is it's gonna produce a file called with an extension. It's a text file that at the end have an rout file name that's going to redirect the output of the script inside of this file, kind of like the same when you are doing testing. And then when you use sync, you are opening like basically like a standard output inside of this file that you name inside of sync. And you need to close the stream of data at the end of the script. So this was tricky. I didn't know that. So sync can be dangerous in a non-interactive mode. You can also use your shell. I feel like a lot of time I'm gonna use my shell. So I'm gonna use like the shell command, like do I have example of that? Also. Not here, but blah, 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 blah. Do I have like see, you can use like the same way I'm doing it. Like you can redirect either with T is like another redirection, but you can redirect here. For example, here you have a redirection in shell. So you can use also like the same. I feel like if I was needed to redirect R output from a program, I will tend more to use more like the shell version of its way of redirecting the output. That's my take, but like I could see like in some way, like I never use it, but like maybe there is some use of it. That's it. Anyway, writing standalone program is super useful, especially if you are not working only with R. Assure quality code. Well, here it does not go too much. Use Git, thanks. That remind me, like, did you use it? Are you confident using it? Because you could push into like the common repo your notes. I'm gonna do that after, but
Yeah, I've been meaning to do it too. I for most of the presentations I didn't format them
oh yeah,
in the book down format, so I have to go back and I think I did the first two that I did. I uploaded to the repo, but I have to go back and add. I
that's
have to
fine.
take my presentation and put it into the book down, and so it's kind of a pain. But
anyway, being confident with Git is super difficult because Git is a super complex stuff. So it's kind of like it's when most of our use cases are very small, like you need to ingest all the abstraction of Git, which is kind of complex. I like I don't know if I reference it, but I like the MIT missing semester course on it. Do
Wait, I don't know what
about
is,
it?
I don't know what that is.
It's very good, but it's missing semester. Yeah, this one. I have not done all of them. Like this is like the MIT course of some of like, and I think I have done this one, maybe this one and this one. But there are plenty of stuff. And their version of Git is very good. So it provides you the correct understanding of the abstraction of Git. So you understand like kind of the how it's organized, and it make it easier for you. I can share that into like.
Yeah, I really need this. One of my big goals for just after the New Year's to start migrating my team at work onto Git. We're currently like emailing versions of code back and forth. It makes me want to cry.
Maybe this one is a bit too complicated right now, depending of your team.
Yeah. I mean, I use Git, but I just don't feel that comfortable like onboarding and leading a new team into it. So I need some more like expert level understanding so that I can confidently lead folks in.
If only those experts existed. Like
that's fair.
I will say like so you have Git, then you have GitHub, and GitHub is kind of an opinionated version of Git. So, and usually that's the one you want because you're gonna use GitHub, unless like you are afraid of Microsoft, which could be a good reason for plenty of industry. But you're gonna use the version of GitHub, and the version like so. It's other. I will say it adds another layer of complexity. That sometimes you're gonna learn Git, but then you need to understand how GitHub have implemented the way you interact with this remote repository, which is not that complicated. And I will not say that. I will not say like I'm in no place to judge their opinion. Like I do not have the skills for that. But it's just like it makes some stuff that you're gonna see online will not necessarily be alienated or in book. Here, for example, they teach you Git, not GitHub. But yeah, and the happy Git with R is famous. No, you probably know it. The book from Jenny Bryan. That's not exactly complete. That's kind of still, I feel it's still in draft mode. So it's difficult to go into it, I feel.
Yeah, I've been looking at it, but I haven't really been diving in yet. But that's my January 2nd goal. I'm gonna start doing that.
Yeah, it's I will say stop worrying and start doing it a bit. And if I have, because like people have plenty of workflow, you should also check a workflow in Git that match your team. I'm working with analysts and software developers, so they both have different workflow. But so usually the software developer like to have a feature branch. So let's say you want to develop features, they're gonna create a branch where you all work on that branch, and then they have a main branch and they're gonna merge into it. But the data analyst folk usually have like a main and some task, and usually like that's it. And you just need to be careful. Like it's kind of good that you all not work on the same file at the same time. Or if you do that, you will gonna need to do some merging. So at at one time, someone will need to be like in your computer in the text and decide this version, I'm gonna merge it and push it on the version. This is like the step that everyone is afraid of, merging the conflict. My version of it is usually, and it's probably a bad one, but what I'm doing is like, let's say like I have a conflict. I'm gonna go into a clean version, check out from this clean version. So I imagine Git as multiple paths. It's a network when you need to know where you are in the network, and the network can be like very messy. Usually it is. And you go in clean places, and then you're gonna pull the unclean stuff you're gonna create a new branch where you're gonna pull the stuff that need to be it's not unclean but need to be merged, and you're gonna do that into that branch. And then after you commit that branch to the main repo. That's how I deal with it. But other folk have other practice. But yeah. Okay. Test-driven development. I think this is on my goal for January 2nd. I put a link on the Slack also about it, about the guy who wrote the book about test-driven development, because I think he made a very good point. So I think I will go to it so we can read it here. And yeah, I didn't know he was the guy from Breaking Bad, because he looks exactly the same. But yeah, the first part is super important, and if you read like, is write a list of the test scenario you want to cover. So you literally like do not do any kind of codes. You just write a list. What I want to cover. Then I like it. You turn exactly one. This is super important. You don't try to cover everything. No, one. Then you make it pass, and you change the code. You make the test, because you need to be sure like while you're making change, you are not breaking stuff. And then this is the part like the design parts that are tricky. You do not touch too much about the design. If design question arise, you should bring them at another level. Here you are just trying to create tests and validate them. Until the list is empty, go back to 2. So I like the surgical is a good reader on it. I noticed it was like done like a few weeks ago. What is really important and why I always fail is like I usually write the test after. And usually when I write the test after, first I'm influenced on how I write the function. And also like writing the test at explicit assumption about the code. So I think like this first is very like important. What I want to cover my basis on the function. I will say just one more word because like we're gonna run out of time. It's like unit test is different than validation. And in data, what we need a lot of time is validation. So you need to run a data pipeline and you need to rerun it at one time. And what you want to know is like, does the data is kind of the same that what it was previously? Let's say I'm ingesting a bunch of CSV from like UGC, like and this is more like a data pipeline validation. Does my pipeline provide the expected reality? The expected results. This is more validation than the test-driven development. Does not mean that I shouldn't write a test for my pipeline. This is another story. But what users and for example, like my business owners, what they care is they care like at the end, the results match. And for that, it's more validation process. And for validation, you need to run the whole workflow. You need to run the pipeline to get the end results. Here for test-driven development, it's more related to test. And you want to test stuff and test function. So I have done some. So here, like it's an example, like this is like I think this is one exercise. So you have this root mean squares function that we already have previously. This is a bunch of stuff that the author provide. That's a good list, by the way. I will add another one that include null or NA, but like I should test more frequently against pi or specific numbers. How do I deal with? And yeah, some tests fail. Like if you provide I don't remember. So one way of converting that is like if the length is you can do that and then it break. That's another way. Exercise this one. So the same. So here for the book, I moved them, but before they were, so I kind of reused the one he provided. So it's just stop if not all equal something. And this is my sample, and I don't remember exactly. We should read like what's the goal was this exercise was. Test-driven development. Yeah, implement your version of the sampling function, assuming replace equal to, calling run if. That's it, yeah. So I'm basically like trying to sample an integer here. I don't want to sample too much. So what's the function do is running is running runif. And I started like without min max, and then I added them, etc., etc. And as I was like doing it, and I tested against like expected value, but it's pretty like bad implementation, but solve the exercise. Do stuff with air command check. So this is difficult to do run into the book, so I was like planning to do it here. Blah, 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 blah. So air, I think it will work like that. Where air command check here maybe. So yeah, well, it's kind of, so all of these check are available if you in every kind of stuff that's follow the structure of the package, which I think it's valuable. So if you have like, for example, and also like you don't notice it, but in some places it's also it's also gonna run the test. So if you have like inside of we can do it, I think it's test with an S, cd test, and let's touch my test that well, we're gonna be our way because I'm lazy. Okay, no. Oh no, I'm in test. That's good. So we're gonna just do the same stop if not, or just all equal. I think all equal, and we're gonna be pretty basic. Should be the same. Well, this is, and then we need to go back. Hopefully my demonstration will be successful because I not try it. Touch my test error. No, where is my command? Yeah. I have an error. But I don't know what's the error, but it's not like I can check them into the log. What I wanted to show, I should check what's inside of it, what's the error exactly is. It's probably like because it does not have the correct manual page, I think. But what I wanted to show, it's gonna run tests, and it's gonna say okay. And if you use like, for example, like the let's run R. If I do dev tools check, I think. No, it's with an S. It's gonna provide you a cleaner way of it. But that's exactly like a better wrapper of the air command check version. And it's provide like more detail and a cleaner way. And yeah, no trouble. And see running the test, etc., and saying okay. And if you use test that, you will add another stuff here. So that's why, like at the beginning of the stuff, I said like if you structure some project into this structure, you can use this tool to check the project quality, and it do all the check for you, depending after that if you want this check or not. Okay, debugging profiling. I have put them together. This is nice, but it seems a bit outside of the scope of the book because the other is for debugging, you print and stuff like that. And for profiling, yeah, it does not provide much. It's like, oh, there's this function in R, you should use it. Thanks. Well, you have package for that. You have like plenty of other stuff. I will highlight like a lot of time in debugging. Writing the function is not the bottleneck, but writing and reading the file are. So that's why like you should use targets or stuff to catch the data. This one was super good, dang. Special functions in syntactic sugar. So I didn't know R have that much syntactic sugar. The syntactic sugar is kind of like for the Pythonista, like the list comprehension is a syntactic sugar. So list comprehension is just a cleaner way to write loop. And you probably get some improvement in speed, but yeah. So everything is a function, and so we learned that already. I don't go too much, but like the book go into like the kind of like this function. I'm gonna redo it. Here we have already see that like the binary operator function, everything is a function. If is a function, so I don't think I should spend too much time onto that. The backstick are super important. Like the backstick are this kind of stuff. So I'm just using them here, but you can use them also like for these crappy stuff that I have, like if I want to add special something on column name. And usually when you import stuff, like you can have that and you want to select on it. Oh yeah, it didn't go the way I wanted. But normally you should be able to command them well inside of a backstick, etc., etc. I didn't know too much about the underlying of the $sign, which is allow you to access elements from name in name. And yeah, this is a clear example. Like you have all this list. If you want to get B, you do that kind of the same way on with the table. I'm still gonna use way more. I'm still gonna use the $. Stick. The author does not like it. I see. He think you should always use like the double square bracket. And what good example? There's too much M here. I think is like you can't do it programmatically, and I think this is a very good point where you want to have like, especially if you want to index stuff inside of data and you want to generate the index by name, this is the way you do it. And this is why you should, if you can't pass it to $sign. So I think that this was like something you know. Curly braces. Work like function call, evaluate everything, then return last result. Is also a function. Yes, you can also like operator are function. We already see that. I admit so yeah, you said like the both are the same map and map function. I prefer the second version of it. I think it's more readable. But yeah. You can define your own binary operator. I didn't know that. So I define like this one, this cute one. It works. But it's not like it's very important. I will advise against doing it. But some of them could be useful. Like if you want to be clear, like it can only take 2 elements because it's a binary function, but like it's useful. Replacement function. Well, it was great. So the replacement function is a function that changes an object in place, which is very rare into R. Most of the time you will create an object. So the function, I mean, I'm not sure exactly if it replaces in place, because every time you are kind of providing a new value, and I don't think like it's gonna change it. I will need to investigate that a bit more. So like the add function, for example, here. I provide you an example like in the geospatial world, like the coordinate reference system is usually setted. Like let's say like you download the data set and you don't know what it is, but it's not the argument of the object is not set. That's mean like, but you know it's like, let's say like a specific system. Then you can just use, it's an example like this sf_str, use exactly the same method that's the replacement function. Blah, blah, blah. One good call is like why must exist before the call. Yes, because like when you understand like how it works, it's basically do that. And if y does not exist, it cannot, because it's called here, it does not work. Makes sense. Blah, blah, blah. Extend. So I have like just write a quick version of it, not very difficult, nothing very too important to note. So I'm just generating like the same, adding the sum. Yeah, I don't know too much like when to use. When I was reading that, I was like, when do I want that behaviors? And I kind of refer like here, when you have like an object that you want to set that have been done, but I don't know where I will want these behaviors in a lot of functions. But no, I know they exist. And yeah, you use them for call name, for example, and a lot of stuff like that. Make plenty of sense. He give a good example, and that's it. This is like, here I didn't go too much, like call by value versus call by reference. Like in R, you call mostly by value, but like in C, for example, you could call by a pointer inside of the memory. And this is a good example of it. Like here, I'm changing Y, but then if I reprint, I'm changing X, but if I reprint X, it's not like just a new call, new object. Variable scope. We're probably gonna see more of that because this is like kind of the same. What's inside of the function stay inside of the function. I mean, I was not surprised by that. So when you call the Z, which was defined inside of the function, it does not exist. It's not available in a global environment. Important note on that. It's not good to refer to object not passed as an argument, and I've spent plenty of my day debugging that. So inside of the function, you're gonna have a call from, let's say, like, I have seen that inside of a package. Let's say you have a package, and the package is gonna download some file, and the function is referring to this file. So let's make it, when you want to update the function, you need to update the file related to it, but it's not close to the function. So what happened? It is the function call that is producing the local scope. Yeah, this is an important call. Like this is the call to the function that's gonna generate a specific environment linked to the function. This is not the curly, it's not a property of the curly braces. We're gonna see way more of that in the next chapters with environment. Well, the infamous closure objects, most of the user define function are closure, which you can subset. This is the infamous warning, like if I do, for example, which one it is? This one is this one. Approx. Let's run it. Ah no, at the end of it. I'm in a hurry. I would like to. Where is it? Yeah, let's copy past that. No, come on. So F1 as a function, and for example, if I want to do something stupid just for the sake of it, object of the closure, it's a function, so it's not a data. You can't subset it. So that's it. Like the same with a CDF. I think a CDF is producing like a function on the data. So you have a lot of this one. They are interesting. And they are probably useful way more inside, and they look the same, but they are not the same. And why? Because they carry different kind of data with them. The same, I don't know when I want to use them. This is like, I think, advanced topic for me. Default argument, we have seen plenty of them. I will not go too much into that. So this is an exercise like asking you to look at them, and the question is like sometimes like you have some that are defined, like for example, download file, at least you have 4 and maybe more depending on how you set up the extra one. Because this download file like is depending on the get option from your environment. So you could have some setup into your environment that you're gonna pull when you download file. So also, how do you manage that? Default argument can be constant, but also our expression. That's for example, like the higher order function. And you put usually the default argument at the end of the function. I think everything makes sense. less lazy versus eager evaluation. The first arguments are evaluated only when needed. So we are like going to pass the value only when needed. This one was tricky. I do not correctly understand it. While ellipsis, we have already seen it. I do not go too much.
Yeah, and I haven't done these, so I can't offer any insight into them. But
yeah, I don't get this one. But yeah. An exercise, I don't remember, but I have done it. It's the super easy, like how you pass multiple stuff. This one was like an example of ellipsis, like nothing big, like so you're gonna pass like 2 run if, like 3 arguments, 9 arguments, and then you want them to be -1. Right? I use that. Super easy. Meta programming. I have a beef against meta programming, so I feel the authors because everyone is using it. It's super complicated to debug, and that's not my job. And this is a good example. So you can use that if you want a function to be does not evaluated. And this is how you do that, for example, on plot defaults or plot no, like it should print 1 on 100 square. And it's basically like it's gonna use text deepr substitute. My plan was to print it, but like we are running low on time. But it's basically running the exact same code to do that. So useful but dangerous. I feel it's it's done here. That's it. Okay, here to write or abstain. I think like all of that makes sense, but I think you need to practice to fill. Also, it depends on every project. That's something that the author does not bring, but I feel a lot of it depends on the project. Use dry. That was a very good point. Use dry when complex operations are concerned, and if not, that's fine if you copy paste too much stuff. Like I think this was like a good take. Not sure if I'm buying the tirade lazy part. Like sometimes you also a tirade or you have budget constraints. So I was not agree with him. I mean, not necessarily disagree, but like it depends on the project.
Yeah, you can't like rewrite every like the whole R ecosystem for every project. Yeah.
For past and pass O, I would have been into the team that I think having like the past O default as an argument would have been better than writing 2 functions. Deparse, I don't think it was needed. I agree with him, but you know, to pamper or challenge with your audience. I think this was very important. Like just this is valuable. Like from whom are you gonna write codes? Is it yourself? Is it or yourself in next month? Is it coworkers? And I disagree also. Like depending of your users, sometimes you also want to show cool stuff first. Then after, like when you are user on board, you can make them do more complicated stuff. To build or reusing.
That's interesting. I haven't thought of it like that, but that's an interesting take.
Yeah, I like for example, tidyverse is great because it's help people on board. To build or reusing. Yeah, the question is like not necessary. The question is mostly like building fast obviously is desirable, but the sustainability is also important. But it's super hard to estimate it. Like for example, like one of the function like my team work for data pipeline use some tidy select and deprecate some stuff, and yeah, I need to update all of it. So it has a cost definitely, but like usually like you're not necessarily the one to carry the cost. So I don't know. We need to consider dependency, evolution of the API, change of function, etc., etc. Well, yeah, quote the original tool. I think it's super important in the free open source supplement. And to revolt or evolve, I don't think I have even like. I mostly think like interoperability. You have interoperability concern. Like this is my most. How do you do that in work with other stuff? Exercise. I go fast on it. Everything needs to be true. Yeah. If return
I might have to head out.
Yeah. Anyway,
But,
I have just done this one. On the I have done more than one, but I have just done like the one from position.
yeah. Well, I'll when I do them, I'll double check against yours too and
Yeah.
see, because
Anyway, I'm gonna
I haven't
publish.
done these yet.
Thanks. Sorry, it was a big
Oh,
chapter.
no, that's okay. Thanks. It's such a long chapter. Thanks for,
Yeah.
and I'm glad you did it, because I think I'm really tired. Tomorrow's the last day of the semester here, so I'm so
yeah, it's normal.
so
Like,
I don't know. Am I signed up for next week? I can't. Let me check.
is it big next week, the chapter?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I haven't looked.
Yeah, if it's not you, you're just ping me, so I prepare it. Because it's a big chapter. Oh my God, yeah.
Oh, it is a big chapter. Let's see.
Yeah. But we can even if it's a big chapter, we can do it a bit like next.
Yeah, I'll see. I'll see if I don't. I might not get through all of it, but I'll probably
Ping
get through.
Ping me Friday on Friday.
Okay. Okay. So that sounds good.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry that you got stuck with such a big chapter. Yeah.
End of the year. Bye.
Yeah. Have a good